Since the advent of the so-called Fourth Republic in Ghana, the country's politics has been dominated by the two largest parties, the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, and the National Democratic Congress, the NDC. However, the story was different some time ago. In 1957, Kwame Nkrumah led the West African country to independence, and his party, the Convention People's Party, CPP, was very popular many years ago. After his overthrow, however, the party was driven underground, only to resurface in the late 80s to early 90s during the lifting of the ban on political activity, which ushered in the Fourth Republic. The CPP has not been able to regain power, despite a strong message and a seeming popularity, I should say, year in and year out. We're joined now by a member of the CPP live from Ghana to discuss what's going on in Kwame Nkrumah's CPP. Yaw Nkunim was the parliamentary candidate for Menchia South, and he joins us now. You're welcome, Yaw.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and we do appreciate your time. I would please ask you to speak up a tad, because I think the lines are kind of fuzzy a bit, so please speak up a bit. But anyway, let's go straight to it. The CPP many years ago was very popular. Nkrumah's overthrow, however, seemed to be the punctuation within that scheme of things. And now the CPP seems to be having a hard time reconnecting with Ghanaians. Ghanaians actually do connect with Nkrumah, but they don't seem to connect as much with the CPP. Why do you think this is so?
Well, thank you very much. As you said, the overthrow of Nkrumah seems to have seriously jolted the CPP. But if you realize, there is every indication that the CPP is on the verge of rebirth, revival or revolution or whatever you may call it. And let me explain that. The CPP is politically the cultural link for Ghanaians and Africans. And so when the overthrow came in '66, it jolted the whole Ghana and, of course, Africa. Now, what is happening is the CPP is in sync, or is a heartbeat of the people culturally. So whatever is happening to the continent and the country is exactly what is happening to the party. And now we are on the verge of a rebirth, not only for Ghana, but also for Africa. And for 38 years, everybody knows that the CPP was an illegal party. We didn't have a name, nor brand, nor the logos. We fought hard. They thought we were dead for good. We got it after 38 years. And when we got the logo and the brand and legal status restored, the second fight was fighting the infiltrators. And when we were talking about that, people thought we were making excuses. But I can give you clear examples. The main people who are hiring leaders like Dr. Indum, Honorable Freddie Blay, where are they now? They've gone back to their bases. Everybody knows them clearly now that they were infiltrators. And indeed, what we were saying was true over the last 12 years. So Freddie Blay is now the vice chairman of MPP. And Dr. Indum, everybody knows where he is. He's created his own party. Yep. Unfortunately, Kwame died a couple of days ago. So what I'm saying is that we are on the verge of rebirth. And the reason for that is that the African nation, and for that matter Ghana, is on this revival track. And because the culture is what essentially dominates what civilization or development is all about, the people's culture politically is embedded in the CPP. And so for me, the CPP is just on the verge of revival for the African nation and for Ghana.
Okay.
If this power shift from the West, as Congress put it, is real, then the CPP, there is no stopping it. Okay. It's revival and rebirth.
All right.
So we sent out a lot of think tanks, and now everybody has come back to the table. And very soon, in a few years, in fact, the revival has started, but it will blossom in just this year and next year.
That's good to know, Yaw. But the Nkrumah's tradition is being claimed by so many different little political parties. One gets confused. Which one is the real Nkrumah's tradition?
It's a very simple answer. The CPP is the only party that was built by Nkrumah, and that vehicle was the only one he used. So, though the splinters have come, and it came about because of, everybody knows the history. Let's not recount it for lack of time. The CPP, the logo, the cockle, and it's interesting that the cockle in Africa is that wakes the whole community up at dawn. So on the dawn of the African rejuvenation or revival or revolution, there's only one party, the CPP, that can bring about this revival because it has the spirit and the capacity to do so and the history on our side. The MPP is just on the periphery of the Western Empire or Western Bloc. And as the power shift slows in the West, it starts from the periphery, so the MPP is bound to go down. And I'm afraid the NDC doesn't look like it has the capacity to carry Ghana and Africa and power the African people to this new revival.
You speak of Africa each time you speak of Ghana. Does the CPP have a broader agenda for Africa in general instead of just winning political power in Ghana?
Please come again.
You speak about Africa each time you mention Ghana, I'm noticing. And I'm asking you now if the CPP has a broader agenda for the whole of Africa instead of just concentrating on, say, Ghana.
Yes, that question is legitimate. But the point we are basing our hope on is that Ghana, fortunately or unfortunately, whichever way you look at it, has become the soul or the headquarters of the African nation worldwide. And that is why we've been the first in talking up a lot of African successes, breaking grounds, being the pace setter for Africa. And so if we are talking about Ghana, I'm saying that politically, the culture of the people, which is what is going to carry us into the new world, into the new rejuvenation, into the new era, is embedded politically in the CPP.
Okay.
So the CPP cannot be divorced from Ghana and from Africa for that matter.
Okay, I see that point is well made. Now, you going back to the point we made a while ago, or the question I asked you a while ago about several smaller parties all claiming the Nkrumah's tradition. The saying goes, a house divided against itself shall not stand. Isn't it about time? I know there have been futile attempts which didn't, produce much, but isn't it about time that you really got together to bring all these little Nkrumah's factions into one mighty family, capable of actually, vying for political power?
Well, personally, I think we shouldn't waste any more time on the effort to bring back all the splinter groups on board. Because, one, we know some of them, clearly, their sponsorship and wherever it's coming from, and it's in the interest of such people, including the NDC and the MPP and some other, that we get splintered. So we are saying that let's concentrate on using our brand and our history and our spirit and our energy and the rejuvenation spirit to move forward. And as they see that the father's house is solid, everybody will be proud to come back.
Yeah,
so,
let me pause you there for a second. Are you insinuating by any means that these smaller parties are being funded by the NDC and the NPP? Is that what you're insinuating?
Not all of them, but I'm saying that there's credible evidence that some of these parties who claim the Nkrumah lineage has been funded as part of a political strategy or campaign strategy to keep the other from merging back with the CPP or coming back home to the CPP. And I can give you solid examples because in as much as we know, like I said earlier on, aside the infiltrators who were in the CPP and now clearly they've gone back home to where they belong, there were also these splinter parties. Some are dying off, And we know some elements of the PNC, for example, and where they get their sponsorship from. So it's not as if we don't have the facts on the ground.
Okay.
And therefore, what I'm saying is, yes, we need the numbers, but now we shouldn't be concentrating on the splinter groups and forcing them, because their leadership, unless they change.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Now the CPP is traditionally, or has traditionally entrenched itself as the kingmakers in Ghana's electoral procedure. In return for your king making, you sometimes get like a parliamentary seat or two, and stuff like that. It kind of seems as if certain elements in the party at least are satisfied with remaining kingmakers, because it seems such a gargantuan task to try to unseat the NDC or the NPP or any of those bigger parties. Is the CPP content with being kingmakers?
That kingmaker issue, there is more to it than how people make it seem. And the reason is that in Ghana, there is no administration, whether civilian or military, that has been successful without the support of the CPP. And that is simple, because I'm saying that the culture of the people, the spirit of the people is embedded in the CPP. So if you don't have the CPP support, you are bound to fail. And we can recount the UP, after the overthrow of Nkrumah, came to power. Without a CPP, of course, it was banned, so we didn't participate at all. The Champon era, the mission was to bring back Nkrumah, and so the CPP elements came, and it was fairly successful. 79, the Rawlings issue, they, Boachijan and Co. were all CPP elements. Liman, PMP were CPP, then back to PNDC, the same CPP elements. And then we came to 92. We all know where the late Vice President Konkensa Akai and Co. came from. And then later on, Professor Mills. Now, the CPP supported in 2000 the MPP, and that is why the MPP won. 2004, the status quo remained 8. The CPP supported Professor Mills, and he won. Now, what we have realized as a party is that we are no more going to give support to anybody. We are going to concentrate on ourselves. And clearly, everybody sees the challenges, the Herculean challenges the NDC is facing now, because we have withdrawn our total support, physically, spiritually, what have you. And so I'm saying that the CPP has not just been a kingmaker. It is because the spirit of the people, the culture of the people, and the history, the foundations of this nation is embedded in the CPP.
Okay.
So without a CPP, it is very difficult to have a successful governance.
Okay,
and
all right.
Therefore, once we've withdrawn totally and are not supporting anybody, come 2016, people will see the surprises, because then clearly, for all these years, over 40 years, we clearly now have a semblance of a wholesome party after fighting off, the infiltrators and all. So we seem to be very much on course.
On course, okay, all right. Now, your party always has cogent, policies. At least, if you ask me, I would say that the CPP always has like some of the best policies during the campaign era and stuff like that. Why can't you market these policies to Ghanaians who obviously are impressed? If you look at the reception that your candidate Abu Sakara got in the last election, it was very encouraging, but then the numbers on the ground showed totally different. What seems to be going on?
Well, that is another equation that I believe the CPP has clearly found a solution to. And that is, let's be broad a bit. There is always a mantle of power. And wherever it is based, that is where the people follow. And this mantle, after Nkrumah, we got scattered and then got into the wilderness. That mantle was knocked off by the MPP's antecedents or the apparent. They held it, and that is what Kufuor brought on board. And then what was left is what former President Jerry Rawlings was using. Now, I'm saying that there has been a power shift. Whether you look at it on the political, spiritual, historical analysis or whichever way you look at it. And that power shift, because it's returned back to the CPP, all the rest are struggling. So it's a matter of if really that mantle is restored back to the CPP. You come to Ghana now, and I'm sure you talk to Ghanaians a lot. This time around, many people are saying, look, we are just waiting for the CPP to come out full force, and we are with them because clearly, the NDC and the MPP have become a great disappointment.
Okay.
So I'm saying, I understand your question and the background you're coming from, but really, the CPP has always had a heartbeat with the nation. And we all know how the nation has gone through the wilderness, like its sister countries, and now we've all come back home, So every pointer is directing, pointing to the CPP in 2016.
Okay, yeah. We have very little time left, so let's try and crash a few answers and cover the next few questions, because these are very vital questions that I want you to respond to. One of them is the leadership in your party. There seems to be a lot of animosity in the party, which led, of course, to people that you refer to now as infiltrators leaving the party, Pakwesi Ndum and the whole rest of them. Do you have a serious plan to end this leadership, rancor, just to put the party in a better position to win power in 2016?
Let me clarify this with this opportunity. Dr. Pakwesi Ndum, we don't want him back. In fact, the whole mission of our chairperson, the Honorable Samia, was to get Pakwesi and the infiltrators out. Because whilst we were moving towards power, they were scattering our efforts. And I can talk of personal experience in 2008 elections. So we have to get the understanding of the CPP clear. That it's not as if we want those elements back. What we are concentrating on is marketing to the people, and especially the youth. Because, as it were, you don't put new wineskin in old wineskin, in the old wine box. And we are not saying the old fellas are not important, but the core of our mission is the youth, because in a new day, we need the new energies, new thinking, new ideas, and so on.
Okay.
Just like...
all right. The other question that I want to ask you, Yaw, is that your party has huge issues with GMO foods or GM foods. And then the other issue that you are really incensed about lately is the signing of the economic partnership agreement with the EU. What exactly is your issue with these two things? Briefly, please. We have only a few minutes left.
Yes, thank you very much. The EPA, the Economic Partnership Agreement, with all due respect, I think is a diplomatic jab or insult on the intelligence of Africans or Ghanaians, whichever way you put it. Because first of all, it is generally not beneficial in the sense that how can you want an agreement where within a decade we should be forced to open over 80% of our markets to you, I mean the European Union and bloc. And then looking at the marginalization and the current issues of trade imbalance, you are going to completely kill our industrial base. And so for us, we think that is not fair. And then two, we also look at it as part of the agenda to scatter the African unity mission. Because how can the European Union and the European bloc, a united bloc, come in to deal with us on individual country basis? So that, what I'm saying, why didn't they rather negotiate with the AU, the African Union?
Yeah.
Exactly. So on the premise of that, we just think that it's a multifaceted approach, well put together by the Europeans to perpetually or to force us back over the strides Africa is making in the industrial sector.
Okay, and GM foods, quickly.
And then there's also the point, just last point on the EPA. there's also the point that the EPA, the Africa is not being allowed to state or propose, as it were, our own, stand. And that is unfair. You just bring the document and you want us to say A, B, C. We don't want C, we don't want D, we want P. No, we should be able to come out and also state our position.
Okay.
And then on the GM
briefly, please.
food, it's the same in line. In line with the EPA concept, because the whole advantage of the marketing base, the trade base, is on the side of the Western world, Europe, America, and the powers that be.
All right.
Because if you are saying that we manufacture the seeds and then you bring it here and we buy it, and we don't have power over that manufacture, what are you trying to do? And then secondly, we are also concerned about health issues. You cannot say that everything that is grown in the West is good for everybody.
Okay, yeah.
Nature says that whatever you need is in your environment. So thank you for the opportunity. And
Yes. Very finally, before you leave, and I'd like you to be very brief on this as well, because I'm actually stepping over the time limit given me now. But I want to ask you, I heard it through the grapevine that the CPP is considering a merger with the NDC. Is it true? Briefly.
It's absolutely false. It's absolutely false.
All right. And then how would you assess?
Will be merged with the NDC.
How would you assess the president's, performance so far? And what would you do differently?
I think it's clear. Unfortunately, I helped his predecessor personally and then the party-wise. But he's been so far a complete failure. And it's clear. Ghanaians, everybody is clear. He himself makes statements to that effect, that we should give him time. Why should we give him time if the pointers were clear that things were moving on well? You didn't tell us that. So it's clear frustration in the party NDC, and the administration is clearly suffering. And all this, I'm saying that it is because of the withdrawal of the CPP support, which people underrate. And let me, as we land, take the opportunity to wish the king, the monarch of the Golden Kingdom, the Ashanti Kingdom, Otumfuo Seitu the second, who is having his grand debut tomorrow on the 15th anniversary of ascending to the Golden Stool. And I wish him well, good health and long life and God's blessings.
And we, on our part, thank you very much, Mr. Yaw Nkunim, and we wish you and the CPP all the best. If the party truly represents Kwame Nkrumah's vision, Africa will be the better for it if your party comes to power in Ghana. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll reach you sometime soon for more on your party. Okay, viewers, thank you so much. That was Yaw Nkunim. Yaw Nkunim was the parliamentary candidate for Menchia South in Ghana. Stay tuned, there's more coming.